Hello, football fans, and welcome to The Onside Kick. Ricky Widmer here, along with Dave Oster.
Hey, guys.
And Mark Weber.
Oh, hey, guys, what's going on?
This is the first time that we've all been in a room. Mark hasn't been here in 2 months. Me and Dave have taken what seems like an eternity off on podcast because Dave got me sick. You got sick, then got me sick, Dave.
I had the plague for about 2+ weeks, and then you got the plague for several weeks.
I'm on
we
week
missed
2.
out on our core timing of football season. I feel bad.
I feel too. Like, each week, me and you would be like, we're going to do it. And then it's like, no, we're not. We're going to cough. But, guys, we're kind of in a little middle-of-the-week situation here. So we're going to go with some predictions, talk about Week 7 that's coming up. But, Dave, beforehand, I'm gonna throw you a bone because I know pre-podcast you were bitching up a storm a little bit.
I do that quite well.
About a certain Vontez Burfict that was only fined $25,000 for trying to twist some ankles.
Yeah, and meanwhile, on the other side, you got Ryan Mundy from the Bears, who got fined $22,000 for a helmet-to-helmet hit. So on one hand, you have a player who's playing old-school NFL style, where maybe it's not intentional, but it was still a now illegal helmet-to-helmet hit, concerning for safety reasons. But on the other hand, you have Mr. Burfict over here, who's intentionally trying to injure players, and he gets a $3,000 more fine for, really? That's it?
Not just injure players. I just want to throw out injure players who have had ankle injuries before.
It's star players on this team, too. I mean, you can't really make a difference between, he's a bench player and he's a star player, but Cam Newton and Greg Olsen, that is the Carolina Panthers offense.
That's their offense. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, Calvin Benjamin's doing his thing out there, but he's a little hurt at the moment. Got a little bit of a concussion. But anyways, it's I don't know. This is what we go back to, like, Bountygate, and we want to make that a big deal. Like, this is not an entire team, but you have a similar situation where
I wouldn't compare
else,
it to Bountygate.
Well, I'm saying nobody else in that locker room, like, thinks this guy might have some issues.
Well, here's the thing. He led the NFL last year in personal fouls. So it's not just, maybe he was, out of his game this week. No. He leads the league in personal fouls. You have to be a bad person. I'm sorry, like, if you're out there trying to intentionally hurt people on defense, why are you still employed? I mean, I understand, he was a good player. No, you have someone trying to physically harm other players and take away their livelihood. That's ridiculous. You don't need people like that on the field.
And as a coaching unit there, you're supporting that by allowing this guy to be in your locker room. So you're saying, yeah, that's fine.
I like how you said that about the coaching because, Dave, I want you to answer a question for me. For all the listeners out there, I have a picture of Burfict on my computer. What do you see on the right side of his jersey?
Big old C.
A big old Captain C. Is that captain material?
No.
And you're a coaching staff that is saying, oh, well, you know what? This is what I'm going to say, are okay with because that's what we look for in our captains.
Yeah, Marvin Lewis, when asked about him, he just refused to comment. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. This is a Bengals defense who has had the likes of Adam Pac-Man Jones on the roster. They had several, even back to the Cedric Benson days, they're known for having people with some legal issues. And now you've got somebody who's having several issues on the field, and you have to wonder, well, when's he going to try to hurt somebody off the field? There's obviously something mentally going on there where he's trying to play over-aggressively, trying to harm other players. You got to ask, well, when's he going to cross the line?
And especially with everything with the NFL right now, when we have the domestic abuse issues, which we're still all of a sudden, it's funny, we're out of nowhere all of a sudden every week somebody else is committing domestic abuse.
Yeah, now it gets their time.
Coincidentally, we just kind of ignored it for every other year. But I think it's something where, I forgot who said it, and this was earlier in the season, where somebody was saying it's hard as a player, especially a defensive player, to understand what life is on the field and what life is outside of the field. Like, here, you're getting paid, you're getting rewarded.
You're always in attack mode.
Yeah, you're praised for hurting people. So when you go off the field, it's a hard thing to turn off. Mm-hmm. And I do wonder, kind of in this type of situation, especially for a player like this, we're here in Chicago, so we know Brandon Marshall fairly well and his issues he's had with borderline personality disorder. Not saying that's what we're having here, but is there some type of issue that somebody needs to seek professional help with because they're sitting there thinking it is okay for me to be here and just try and injure the player?
Well, and here's the thing. To go a little bit from this and look at the football that's going to be played.
Well, I just want to wrap it up. One last comment is this guy should – I'm not saying he should, like, lose his job right now. I'm saying he should be suspended multiple games. That's step one. You can't throw down a fine for trying to break two players or trying to, I don't know what injury, he's going for, ankle,
just snap them,
muscle, whatever, for trying to intentionally injure two players. He didn't get a game suspension. Even I think a 2-game suspension would have been entirely reasonable in this case. One for each ankle. Call it a day at that point.
One for each ankle.
Let's see where it goes. If his play doesn't change, then obviously you have a deeper issue with this guy. But you need to send a clear message on, well, here's a $25,000 fine. It's just that's nothing.
Somebody's got to say it's not okay. I mean, when we had issues with, Adrian Peterson's situation, not to go back to all this stuff, but Adrian Peterson's situation, the Vikings said, no, he's fine. He can play still. And then they changed their mind.
And then immediately just went 180.
And this situation for Cincinnati, when they have an issue, are they going to say, no, he's fine. He can play tomorrow? Or, play next week. Or are they going to say, hold on a second.
Well, it's not
I'm going to sit on some bench.
I'm going to say one thing about the AP thing. It's a little bit different when your state's governor comes out and speaks hard terms on it.
For sure.
You need the governor to give you some money for a new stadium that you're building.
But, it's kind of a double standard in the NFL where you have all these players and we're making a big deal of, we're protecting children, we're protecting women, we're protecting, people who they're hurting people outside, whoever it is. But on the field, somebody's going to try and hurt people. It's okay right now.
Here's the thing, though, I think of. Bengals this week, game against the Colts. Does perfect. Andrew Luck is a passing guy, but he can get outside of the pocket and make some things with his legs. Does perfect go for Luck's ankle?
Well, right now, Andrew Luck is my MVP of the season at the moment. I don't know how else you're going to stop the guy.
Luck or Phillip Rivers? That's the question right now for MVP.
Luck wins that contest instantly. I think he's got much more popularity around his name. He plays in prime time most of the time. Phillip Rivers, unfortunately, is on that West Coast schedule. Doesn't always get the great game times. While he's been doing great, he's been in the league for a while, so it's like, well, the guy's like going on 30, and, this is the Phillip Rivers we know, so is it really, a big thing? Andrew Luck is like, this is the emerging star. This is the next guy for the NFL franchise.
And this season just really just kind of feels like with all the media attention and everything that Andrew Luck's getting, doesn't just kind of feel like he's being set up for glory this time? He's going to win it all.
And I hate to say it, but I remember one podcast we did, Numbers Never Lie, did a...
God, that piece of shit show.
No, I know. They did a little YouTube video where they do the dry erase drawings.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
it's cute.
They even said that
Adorable.
Andrew Luck was set up for just how the progression with like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, how they went, how the third year has been so crucial that every time I look at my fantasy team week in and week out, I go, I should have listened to that video and drafted Andrew Luck.
I got him. I got the neckbeard on my team.
But we're going to play a game.
All right.
My favorite game that I love to do with you guys.
I could tell when you turn to the laptop.
Blind resumes. Here's quarterback number one.
Hang on. Let me just... I'm sorry. I'm going through Andrew Luck's games, and while he is having a fantastic season, the teams he beat... Jacksonville,
Phillip Rivers beat
Tennessee,
Seattle,
Baltimore, and Houston. Well, he did beat them impressively, and I mean, like, with the back of his hand into the ground.
Phillip Rivers did beat Seattle.
Yeah, there's something to be said about win quality.
But if we're going to look at the stats, here's quarterback number one between the two. 66 completion percentage, 1,987 yards, averaging about 7.6 yards per pass, 17 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, and a QBR of 80.1.
Okay.
Here's quarterback number two. 69 completion percentage, 1,756 yards, 15 touchdowns to just 2 INTs, and a QBR of 871.
I like those 17 touchdowns. Touchdowns win games.
The 15-2, though.
It's a good ratio. Don't get me wrong.
Who you going with, Mark? 1 or 2?
I'm going quarterback number one.
Dave, who you going with?
I like quarterback one, but the ratio wins. I'm sorry.
Mark,
Give me 2.
you said Andrew Luck. Dave, you said Phillip Rivers.
I know I did.
Philip.
I may have been cheating a little.
Well, I mean, to me the biggest thing about Philip Rivers is that 15 touchdowns to 2 interceptions.
For sure.
And he had to go up against Seattle's defense.
Yep.
And Andrew Luck didn't have to do that.
Seattle's doing, obviously they're solid defense and stuff, but
it's still the name that comes with it, that LOB.
Yeah, for sure. But Philip Rivers, I mean, this guy's been around forever. I mean, he's a smart guy. He's not one of these guys who's known for, throwing
But he's having an MVP-like season.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I'm just saying it's not like it's something necessarily unexpected.
That's how I feel like it. Yeah. It would be expected of Philip Rivers to be in this type of position. Andrew Luck feels like he took the next step in his career and is like, this is his statement year. We're all like, all right, we're unleashing the offense.
Yeah.
We honestly have been disappointed with the running back play as of last year with Richardson not being able to pick up the playbook, not being able to fulfill that role totally. Ahmad Bradshaw has come in, made a huge impact, and seems to fit right in and pick up where Richardson leaves off. Provides a real spark for the offense. No, I think it's fantastic, and truly, Luck is something to be dealt with this year.
Well, and I mean, I'm looking at both schedules too, and yeah, you have that Seattle game, but besides that, Buffalo, Jacksonville, Jets, Raiders.
So yeah, favorable schedules in the early year really helps out.
But the one thing that's most interesting about both, Andrew Luck loses at Denver, and then a questionable Monday night game to the Eagles. Did the refs give it to Philly? Doesn't matter. The L goes to the Colts, and then they rattle off 4 wins, where the Chargers, they lose a heartbreaking 18-17 game week 1. I'm sitting there overreacting going, wow, the Chargers are going to suck this season. And then, bam, they rattle off, 5 straight wins?
Yep. But again, against the bottom of the league. The actual bottom of the league. So, while they did dispatch them in quite easy fashion, we have to wait and see until they face another real opponent with a good defense. Let's be honest, though. The Cardinals' defense is for real.
Is that the Chiefs this week against the Chargers?
I mean, it's funny when we're talking about these, beating easy teams, and the first thing that came to my mind is, the Chiefs went to the playoffs last year.
They did.
And that was the first thing I thought of because they played such easy teams. So to say, are the Chiefs going to be this great defense that comes in?
I don't think so.
They're a solid defense, but I don't think
they oversold.
They shut down Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's been having some trouble.
Tom Brady, that was the game that forced Tom Brady to get his swagger back.
Yeah.
It was a wake-up call for him. But to be fair, they did a good job against him. They dropped a lot in coverage, and were still able to get the pressure on Brady. And, I mean, he had nobody to throw to because they couldn't get any separation in that secondary. But honestly, I think the loss of Flowers is bigger than they're willing to admit. I think that he was a big drop-off, and you know what? It's their defense is definitely a step down from what it was last year. So, no, I don't think they're a serious team this year. I think they're a 7-9 team at best.
Out of the 2 quarterbacks that we've been talking about right now at the beginning of the cast.
Yep.
The Andrew Luck, Philip Rivers. Luck against the Bengals in that defense. Andrew Luck against a slightly lesser Chiefs defense. Which ones get wins this weekend?
You said Andrew Luck twice there, Chief.
Well, Philip Rivers. You know what I mean. Andrew Luck, Philip Rivers. Who gets the W's? Both? One? Neither?
I'm going to go with both.
Yeah, I was going to say... at this point in the season, you got to go both. The Bengals, I think they were, I don't want to say, I don't know the right phrase for it, but the Bengals aren't the untouchable team after watching them get smacked down by Tom Brady. It was kind of like, all right.
And then tying to Carolina.
Tying to Carolina. Jesus, that tie. No, but I mean, that was the
Tell us how you
Green.
really feel, Dave, about that tie.
Yeah, no, that's all I'll say. But Mohamed Sanu stepped up, to be fair. I thought the loss of AJ Green was going to cripple this offense, and it was really all on Gio. But Sanu stepped up. Props to him for that. But I still think this Bengals team has some weaknesses, and the defense is one of them. And that's Andrew Luck right now is not the guy you want to go up against when you have a defense that's not top notch.
I just think it's fun to see, just pure stat wise, that Andrew Luck has completed more passes than Andy Dalton has thrown.
Yeah, that's kind of
just a fun fact.
Yeah, just a little.
And, I mean, if we're talking quarterbacks, I mean, one team who you're always talking about the quarterback when you talk about the Dallas Cowboys, 5-1? 5-1?
Yeah, so I'll admit it. We were off preseason predictions. We drank a little too much of the Epsom Kool-Aid and
we
bottomed
still,
their defense.
well,
big
with
time.
me-
we still got November and December, guys. Calm
With
down
me,
for a
it
second.
We got
was
that Romo
the-
hatred month.
Exactly.
I don't know what's going on with the Cowboys.
You know what's going on with that Cowboys? Jerry
What?
Jones went from delusional to genius overnight, apparently. And not overnight. This was several years of drafts.
Several years of drafting offensive linemen.
Got to be the most sexy pick that
It's
Jerry
paying
Jones can
off.
make.
Did you see
I
what
mean,
those
but-
offensive
well, I
linemen
mean,
were
here's
able
the
to
thing,
do
though. I mean,
last week?
We're saying it's paid off, but he also spent like 4 years drafting them.
Well, and the reason why it's paying off is I was looking at the film whenever I watched like NFL Live or
All right, Berman.
NFL Network, and every single time, no matter which analyst was breaking down the film, it was always these offensive linemen for the Cowboys against a great defense in Seattle in a place where you get Seattle to bring you to the upper Northwest. They spank you. They spank you every single time. And to go there, get to the second level, say, we don't care if we have DeMarco Murray or a Randall in the backfield. We're going to break off big runs.
But I still think when we're talking about, the success of this offensive line, it shouldn't have taken so long to build this offensive line up. I think that's the problem.
The oversight, I think everybody's seen is, Jerry Jones went out and drafted. Actually, I don't think it was Jerry Jones. I think it was the people who told him, no, you can't have these sexy picks like Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, no Johnny
We're getting
Manziel
who
for
we
you."
need because he refused to pick up offensive linemen who had been in free agency. He didn't want to pay up for good offensive linemen because they weren't that sexy thing.
Yeah.
He kept being told no, slapped on the wrist over and over during the NFL draft, being like, no, we need this guy. No, we need this guy. And
We're letting you sit in the
At
room,
this point,
Jerry. That's
after
all you get. Don't open your mouth.
after ignoring basic needs of the team in free agency year after year with veteran linemen out there, like over the past couple of years, look at the Bears. We revamped our O-line in 1 year. Boom, done. We went to free agency. We picked up 2 well-known players. There's no reason that the Cowboys couldn't have done that. Jerry Jones refused to spend the money on it. Yes, great job by whoever was doing that draft in Dallas because they picked up their linemen year after year after year. Whether they want it or not, it's there and it's in place and it's working wonders. Like Ricky said, the blocking up front is great. They have such a huge push, and right now there's not really a weak spot on that line. It's fantastic. I think Romo's got to be like smiling ear to ear at this point.
Well, and I mean, Romo, you get him coming in, and the biggest question about him was the back. How's it going to hold up? And it's going to hold up fine when you can read a book in the pocket.
If you're not on your ass all day, that's great.
You can read a book. Oh, wait, Dez is open. I'm just going to throw it to him.
Now, here's the thing about this game. The Giants-Cowboys, of course, have their nice little rivalry. It's one of those rivalries that occasionally comes down to the last game where the Cowboys lose.
Usually.
And don't go to the playoffs. Yeah. But for this one, I think that the Cowboys obviously are going to have it. Tony Romo's doing great things out there. This offense is doing great, as we're saying. The Giants, on the other hand, they have a tight end that everybody in fantasy football leagues wanted to jump on immediately if he was still available. And then besides that,
You watched Victor Cruz go down in excruciating pain last week.
That's horrible.
That was disturbing.
The question on everybody's mind is, is this the year that Tom Coughlin gets fired?
And you know what? We've seen bad Manning. We've seen good Manning. I don't know what to make of this offense. We've seen both ends of the spectrum. I think even without Cruz out there, maybe Odell Beckham Jr., your boy over there, Ricky.
I like Odell Beckham Jr.
Do you think he can step in?
I think so. Well, the thing I like about Odell Beckham Jr. and one of my least favorite color commentators, Chris Collinsworth, hit it.
You don't say you don't like Chris Collinsworth.
I
Chris
don't.
Collinsworth's a fun guy.
I'm not really a Collinsworth guy, but he did say something intelligent last Sunday night in the Philly-New York game where Beckham Jr. is just fast, and he can stop on a dime and make defensive backs miss, but I don't know if Beckham Jr. can be the guy, like the number one guy, and I'm not sure Ruben Randall to me is like a one-hit wonder. Yeah, he was great last season. A lot of people picked him up in fantasy, but he's doing diddly poo this year.
It's an accurate description.
And I mean,
nice.
yeah, this game is so crucial though for the Giants because are you going to go 4-3 or 3-4 into your bye week? And you've got the Colts sitting on the other end of that bye week.
Which is not a great prospect. But on the other hand, you got the Cowboys who can distance themselves even further if they go to 6-1, build up that cushion for the Romo downtime month.
Yep.
I think it's huge.
Well, it's also important, obviously, within your own division. You got to start beating these division rivals because it always comes down to that division game, and there's going to be yet another one at the end of this season for the Cowboys, obviously. So get ahead now, so that way when it does come to that final game against Washington's not that great, but hopefully that doesn't put you back.
Yeah, you don't want
too
that to be a deciding game.
Yeah.
You want it to be locked up early.
But get this. Until this week 7 until week 12 is the next time the Giants and the Cowboys will play. Each team has a bye within this time. Here's who they're playing in those other games. The Giants have Colts at Seattle, home against San Fran, and then they've got the Cowboys at home. Cowboys, home to Washington, home to Arizona, on the road to Jacksonville, bye Giants.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance they split that. Honestly, the Arizona game is the question mark. But I mean, if you can walk out 2-1 going into your bye.
Well, I mean, if you win this game, if you're the Cowboys, win this game, you can beat the Redskins, you can beat Jacksonville.
Exactly, you could go into your bye week 8-2 and only have to win 2 more games for the rest of the season to get into the playoffs.
I wouldn't say that. The Cardinals got 10 wins and they didn't make the playoffs.
Cardinals also in the best division in football.
Just saying, 10 wins might not be enough anymore.
The NFC East is a loaded garbage heap.
True.
Well, Nick Foles and
Nick Foles forgot how to be a quarterback for a couple weeks.
Year.
I remember.
Wait.
Never
Let me go
doubt
on a
someone
Nick
who is
Foles
as
rant.
good.
I
as
draft
Peyton
him
Manning.
in fantasy, and he's doing diddly poo. I hate it.
Just
Diddly
because
poo.
last year he was like the picture of efficiency at the quarterback position, and this year everybody's like,
He was Peyton
oh
Manning-esque.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
someone would say.
Some would say as good as Peyton Manning.
But let's be honest here. The Cowboys are being carried, literally, by DeMarco Murray. He is on pace for a ridiculous year. Currently has 785 rushing yards. It is off the charts. Carry-wise, off the charts again. 159 carries. Are you concerned they're going to wear him out before they even make the halfway point?
Yes, without a doubt. Maybe not necessarily between the halfway point.
Well, I know the halfway point soon, but I mean, like, this much use already in the season.
I think
by
it's
the
a
end of
lot.
the season, aren't you going to be concerned that your number one offensive weapon is worn down and
it's a problem, honestly, because then you're going to start having to rely on the passing game so much, and that's not what you're doing right now. This is success for you. So it's okay to kind of change it up a little bit, put it a little bit more on Tony Romo's shoulders so you can just save DeMarco Murray a little bit. I mean, maybe it's not going to be a factor. Maybe you can go all the way to the Super Bowl, and this guy's going to be just fine. But I think it's a little risky to think you can get all the way to February still having this guy running the ball, getting way more carries than anybody else.
Hey, I don't know. He looks like a carrier jet running out of that backfield. I almost, in my head, Dave, when you asked that question, I was like, no, I'm not worried about it. And then I went to look at DeMarco Murray's attempts like per season.
yeah,
The most he's had is 217.
Guess where he's at right now? 159. The next closest two guys are at 106 and 105 respectively, and that's Arian Foster and Le'Veon Bell. So he is 50 attempts ahead of the next running back. That's absurd.
Well, and
That is flat out absurd.
here's the two things that pop into my mind. I'm going to let you guys do what you may, make fun of me, don't
I'll
make
be
fun
happy
of me.
to. There's no shame on this
Here's
podcast.
the thing I think about with DeMarco Murray. First off, we talked about their strength being that offensive line.
Yep.
If it's working, go with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Second off, I think DeMarco Murray is a durable enough guy.
Really? Because he's been injured the first couple of years of
Yeah.
his career.
to where he can take the hits, and he's not paper thin.
It's an interesting point. Do you think they're going to continue on this pace and let him go for the record, or do you think they're going to start bringing in his
They're going to bring
backup
in Randall.
Yeah, that's
Are we talking about the record of carries, or are we trying to go for record of yards?
yes.
Because yeah, exactly. Here's the thing.
He's
though.
on pace for both.
I think when you have two different things. You can either start using the backup a little bit, or you go full on and say, you know what, forget it.
This
We're
is
just
his
going
year,
in.
and let's just ride it out.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
We're
that's
just gonna
what
see.
the
We're not
Vikings
going
did with
to be worried.
Yeah, the Vikings did that with Adrian Peterson, they were fully aware that their quarterback was lackluster and Christian Ponder, and they rode Adrian Peterson into the playoffs, and he performed 110% every week for them. So it's worked. I mean, it absolutely has worked.
Here's another thing to think about, and this is me just coming up with this off the top of my head.
Yep.
We talked about at the beginning of the season, especially in the first half for Dallas. The biggest question was going to be Romo and his back.
And the defense.
Well, offensively, Romo and the health of his back. Well, if you have a guy like DeMarco Murray that can take pressure off of that, maybe you can ride that enough to where later in the season, Romo's back feels healthier. Okay, now we can limit some of the carries and kind of shift to more of a balanced pass to run.
Entirely possible. I think a lot of it is actually helping out Romo statistically as well. I mean, that run game is huge for him. Also means he doesn't always have to make those throws. You're not in those third and longs as often. You're in more favorable positions. So Romo can be smarter about his passing game. He's only got 5 picks this year so far. Not fantastic numbers, but not bad by any means. For his stat-wise, he's more of the 50-50 type quarterback in touchdown-interception ratio. So I think DeMarco Murray is an absolute godsend for this team right now, and they need to use him. But I got to give props. The one thing is this defense. We all pretty much were like, Cowboys are done for because they have no defense. The big thing that I have seen so far is Lana McClain. He came out basically of mini retirement.
Him coming out like he did.
It was like a mini retirement. He just stopped trying. And he was a top pick. He went over to the Ravens recently and basically was like, it's not working for me. I'm just going to not play. Basically gave up on the game because he wouldn't put the effort in. And he comes to Dallas, and whatever it is, the light switch flipped off in his head. And he's been highly effective. Maybe it's a system. Maybe it's, due to the injuries around him. Could be the weather. Yeah. Could be Jerry Jones.
It's pretty nice.
Jerry Jones is the linebacker whisperer.
Something like that. He's whispering something,
but
no one's sure what it is.
Let's be honest, they had Sean Lee before him.
True.
And DeMarcus Ware.
They've got it all figured out in Dallas, apparently. I want to ask you guys, though, a question for...
Can I shoot one thing before you ask this question?
All right.
Push the button. I see the name. I instantly saw it.
Is it Rod Marinelli? I mean, I'm asking this because he used to be with the Bears.
He had some time, though. I mean, it wasn't a great setup last year.
Yeah, but could we look at him and say his system is a big positive for McClain and this Cowboys team?
It relies heavily on the linebackers being hypermobile. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm sure it helps statistically, but I mean, just watch him. Even if he's not touching the ball, it seems like he's got it back. He's got the passion to play again.
Because every time I hear week in and week out where analysts, everyone, this Dallas defense looks so good. Maybe it's Rod Marinelli. I just think in the back of my head, all these Bear fans I hear, Mel Tucker, he's a bum, should get out of town, blah, blah, blah. But go with your question, Mark.
I want to know for this week here, all right? We're in week 7 of the NFL. Which one of these games are you most looking forward to?
Sunday night.
Sunday night game?
Yep. Niners-Broncos. That's the game of the week for me.
It's hard to argue against that. I mean, you've got two of the top teams who've been playoff contenders the past 2 years. So, yeah, why not? I mean, you've got Peyton Manning, who...
The Super Bowl that could have been?
Yes, absolutely. We were one completed pass away from that.
Yeah.
One pass.
Yeah, pretty close. A game I want to be looking forward to, but unfortunately Megatron's telling me it's not going to happen, is Lions.
Yeah.
I would be looking forward to that game so much if Megatron, wanted to play.
Same here. I mean, this is a Lions team that picked up the Saints offensive coordinator and when healthy looked unstoppable. Mm-hmm. They were just churning out yardage left and right, and the Saints looked a little confused early in the year. Didn't look like they had their shit together. So it's like, well, how much of this was the coordinator? How much, are we properly giving him credit? Everybody was like, oh, no, it's all Sean Payton and Drew Brees. Well, there's somebody in between there, apparently, who got no credit, and the Lions really appreciated that gift. But Megatron being out is, you can't account for that.
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate thing. I mean, I understand where he's coming from, saying if I'm not healthy, I'm not going to play.
But Golden Tate.
Yeah,
I mean, They finally got their number 2 wide receiver, and he's legit. He's got great hands, and seems very durable as far as his route running abilities. So.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the other side too for the Saints. I mean, Jimmy Graham Probably not going to play in this game. Mark Ingram set to come back, but it's still unsure if he's going to play either.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But, it's an interesting situation because obviously without him, it hasn't been too detrimental. I mean, it's not like the running game is non-existent. So I don't know if him coming back is going to be the biggest factor.
I say if there's a team used to not running the ball and still succeeding on offense, it's the Saints, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they use it similar to Tom Brady with the short yard passes, our run, just more successfully.
Unfortunately, you can't do that as much if you don't have your tight ends.
Right, and that's a huge knock. But I mean, they got Cooks, who has been a pretty spot on pick by me. Fantastic underneath wide receiver, got ridiculous amounts of speed and control, good hands. So thumbs up on them for picking up him.
After looking at the entire schedule,
Yep.
To put a final kibosh on your question, Mark. Here's Ricky's top 3 games of the week. You ready?
Glad I got asked this question.
The best game of the week.
It hurts, guys.
The best game of the week is
really
obviously
does.
going to be that Sunday night game that we talked about.
Sure it is.
To me, the only other 2 games that that are probably going to be close and are probably going to be like interesting games: Giants, Cowboys, Panthers, Packers.
Panthers, Packers is definitely going to be a good one.
Other than that, it's a lot of games where I'm like, I don't want to watch these teams.
Browns, Jaguars.
Bears,
Yeah, that's a good
Dolphins. I mean,
Bears, Dolphins is like the definition of not sexy. If I wasn't a Bears fan, I wouldn't watch it.
well, I mean, but it's a huge game
hold
because
on,
the
though.
Bears need to win.
How often does Dolphins and not sexy get mentioned in the same
That's
sentence?
true.
A lot.
Not a lot. I mean,
Dolphins
when it
have
comes
that
to
statistical advantage.
when it comes to Dolphins and sexy, it's hand in hand. We're talking about the Tannehills here.
Could Mrs. Tannehill be in town this week?
Is it possible that she's in Chicago right now?
And we're going to sit her next to Mrs. Cutler
Hey, that would be the dream
and the cutlet.
team.
and baby Cutler.
cutlet and one cooking in the oven.
Yeah.
There's like a little bit of a cutlet in the oven.
Have you heard the comparisons to Cutler this week? They're out there calling him like Jeff George.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I mean Cutler's getting supreme amounts of hate. I think it's hilarious. But is it warranted? Maybe.
Something I saw actually, which of course reminded me of Jay Cutler from, when was it, last year I think, was the Blame Cutler hashtag. Now the Blame Jameis Winston. I think it's just Blame Jameis. I don't remember.
It could be.
But yeah, we're
Blameless. Yeah.
Blameless. Where FSU students are trying to start that up, and I saw it and I go, hey, you guys ain't got nothing on smoking Jay Cutler.
Okay, here's a thing that I retweeted earlier this week from Gil Brandt, NFL.
And where would somebody see your retweet, Ricky?
At Ricky Widmer
There you
on my
go.
Twitter. He posted a tweet that just said pickable passes. So balls thrown that should have been INTs. The best. Cam Newton, 0 INTs, 179 attempts. Matt Ryan just behind him, 1 in 239. The worst, Jay Cutler, 9 INTs, 229 passes.
So I guess the question is is that like your wide receiver is not going to do you the extra favor of swatting down balls? Or does that mean you're throwing balls so horrendously out of place that,
I
you're
don't
just
think
bad?
back to that Carolina game when it just airmailed. Oh, wait, there's a defensive back.
He may have thrown it off his back foot just a little bit.
Yeah, I think for you get an interesting situation for quarterbacks sometimes where they have those. I'm going to be so damn basically accurate that it's always going to be right around there, or you have the ones who are and dirtball. No one's touching that.
Can I ask you guys a question since you're Bear fans?
Absolutely.
If the Bears don't make the playoffs, have a under 8-8 record, so a losing record of anyone, they could even
Yeah,
be
we
7
do
and
fire
9.
Mel Tucker.
No. Who do you blame? I'm only giving you 2 choices.
But the correct choice is Mel Tucker.
No. Who do you blame? Trustman or Cutler?
Neither. I don't blame either one of them.
Tucker.
Yeah, I'm blaming. Well, actually, to be fair, Mel Tucker's done a better job this year. He has done a better job. It's not great.
He's also
but
at
he has
Kyle
done a
Fuller.
better job.
But he lost
Yeah.
Tillman.
Yeah, we did lose Tillman. It's a very
Oh,
unfortunate.
about that.
Very sad.
Did you guys hear what came
He's
out
an
today?
asset.
We also don't really
Yeah.
have linebackers.
Tillman said he's planning to come back next season to play.
He can plan on doing whatever he wants to do. Nobody's going to say no to him. But
Do you
we
think
all
he's
know
really
that
going to
he's-
come back?
He can try.
He'll be
Again,
here for a game or two.
that's my point. Is
Yeah.
he has an injury-ridden career. There's no way he will ever play 16 games again.
There's no way he'll ever play more than 4 in a season at this point.
That's realistic.
Yeah. but he's really good on the sidelines.
He should look into becoming a cornerback coach.
He should.
Secondary coach, absolutely.
Why not? We'll take him immediately. Retire, and you got a job.
Yep.
When it comes between Jay Cutler and Mark Trestman, if I really had to pick someone to put blame on,
It's Cutler.
I was actually going to go with Trestman. I think Trestman's done great things for this team, but he also shows that sometimes he makes some dumb decisions. Clock management is one of his worst
it's terrifying,
decisions.
yes.
Yeah. He makes really bad clock management decisions, and sometimes I sit there and go, why are we trying the screen on this 3rd and 10? Why are we trying the short pass on this 3rd and 15?
Why are we doing an end round with Alshon at this point?
Single play.
It's not predictable at all that every game we do this.
And it usually happens within the first drive.
And it's either a 2-yard gain or a 3-yard loss.
The Chicago Bears still kept their great long-standing tradition, dating back to Lovie Smith, of starting every game with a 3-and-out.
See, now, I'm on the other end of this one. Mm-hmm. I think it's Cutler. I think it has been proven last year that with any other quarterback, we've got a 33-year-old, 34-year-old, 35-year-old, whatever he is, journeyman backup in McNown comes in and looks like a friggin' Pro Bowler because of our offensive setup. And you have Cutler come in here and just basically through poor decision-making lose us games.
I think a big thing, too, is it comes down to your game planning in that situation. Because with McCown, we let him loose a little bit, but we did still keep everything reined in. And we have the guys to do that. We have Forte out there who can make that happen.
Who's leading the NFL in receptions.
Exactly. We have Martellus Bennett, a huge weapon. And then, of course, we have our 2 enormous wide receivers.
We're just missing the 3rd guy, unfortunately. Wilson, come back soon.
That's what Santonio Holmes was supposed to do.
Wilson, come back soon.
He's still working on it. But, I mean, it's interesting because when you put a guy like Jay Cutler in there, you can't have this gunslinger quarterback and say, yeah, but don't.
I agree, but there needs to be some level of caution or maybe just intelligence to go, maybe I don't need to throw in a triple coverage 40 yards down the field.
Yeah, I will say, though, I was watching on NFL.com, they had these highlights of all these great passes, and I think it wasn't – who was it? I think it was either Tom Brady's – I think it was Tom Brady who threw into triple coverage, and it worked. Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like when it works, you praise them.
Absolutely.
When it doesn't, you're booting them out of town. And it's a situation where if it's working, we all love Jay Cutler in that case.
Well,
one time he throws
the question is, how long do we put up with him with the same excuses? He's got some of the best arm talent in the league. It comes natural to him.
But who else do we get?
Really, the question is, who wouldn't work in our system? Because if a 35-year-old journeyman looks like a Pro Bowler, imagine what a competent quarterback would look like.
Do you, in today's passing NFL, do you want somebody who can just dink and dunk their way and hope that we have the success that a team like Seattle had, or even honestly that the Denver Broncos had, of just dink and dunking their way with, in Seattle's case, a strong running game? Or do you want somebody who is Drew Brees, who is
Joe
Aaron
Flacco,
Rodgers?
asks Phillip Rivers, because those are honestly the 2 guys I would compare to Jay Cutler are Phillip Rivers and Joe Flacco.
But I mean that's understandable. I'm just saying, like, if you get rid of Jay Cutler, which if that's the way they move, I support this team. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. I will support the team even if I don't think it's a great decision. But do we want to try and find somebody who's going to be a great quarterback, or do we want to just go back to old style football and hope it still works?
I'm going to throw something out there. To kind of, because I love the conversation you guys are having, I'm going to throw this in there to kind of feed the fire. To me, and maybe it's because I'm not a Bear fan, the one thing I despise about Jay Cutler is that...
Is it his face?
No, it's just when he's on the sideline, no matter what's happening, there seems to be no emotion to where, Jay, do you care?
It's
if there's
face.
a game going on right now?
You're saying it's his face.
Well, no,
you hate his stupid face.
It's his overall...
Be 12-year-old and just say it.
It's his overall demeanor of there's, no excitement. Like, Tom Brady, the way he looked coming out when they played the Bengals, Jay would never,
but that's because
show
Tom
that
Brady's
much
still
emotion.
waiting for someone to give him a damn high five. Still waiting for that high five.
But
left hanging.
I kind of feel like, and I'm going to throw this to you guys, is sooner or later, is his attitude of that just, it looks like he could give 2 shits. Is that going to be the thing to maybe run him out of town?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So I think we all know he cares. He may not show it the same way everybody else does, but he definitely cares about his performance and his actions in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You see him be frustrated. You see him laughing on the sidelines. He's just not always super in touch emotionally with what's going on in the game, which I don't think you have to be at all times. I think it's over analyzing and it's taking things out of context.
Yeah.
Like I forget who it was, but there's a player on the sideline who like they caught laughing while his team was getting their asses handed to him. Like, should he really be laughing on the sideline? I was like, are you kidding me? How out of context is like somebody could have told him a joke, the funniest joke, and you got him laughing on the sideline. Like, he doesn't even care about his team. He's a terrible player. He's a terrible teammate. He's out there laughing while his team's getting beaten down. Like, give the man a freaking break.
You also got to remember, I mean, I know these guys are getting paid, but it is a game.
It's a game.
Yeah, it's a fun game we're enjoying out there. But I will say, I mean, if anything drives Jay Cutler out of Chicago,
it's the lack of a playoff win.
Yeah,
he needs to go win a Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, he does have a playoff win.
But you know what I mean.
A playoff win.
When it counts.
I mean,
the win isn't
that's
against the Packers, so therefore it's invalid.
Yeah, well, we got.
And the Packers kind of did a thing that year.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
I blocked
Yeah, they kinda
I
did.
blocked that out.
They kind of
I
did.
don't remember that.
But the point being,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but I mean, it's that. It's basically we have to get there, and it's not 100% Jay Cutler's fault that we don't get there. But this team is built up. Somebody eventually has to take a blame, and whether it should be the coaches, whether it should be the defense, whether it should be Jay Cutler, someone's got to do it. And you just eventually kind of have to keep shifting pieces around until you can get something going.
Is
right?
Jay going to end up being a fall guy?
I think so.
I could see it.
If we don't win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years, he is the fall guy because he won't be in town anymore.
Yeah.
I'd be like, man, that team was so well stacked if we only had a quarterback. Something Brandon Marshall said about the Miami Dolphins.
It's true. Well,
Recently.
I mean, they needed a team.
Well, they would have been
quarterback to have a team.
Yeah, they would have been a team if they had a quarterback. But no, we would have been a Super Bowl. We should be a Super Bowl contender if we had a quarterback who we didn't refer to as is good Jay going to show up today or is bad Jay going to show up today.
Well, and
that shouldn't be a friggin' question.
The one thing that whenever I hear Bears fans say is good Jay or bad Jay going to show up today, it makes me think of what my dad used to say about Rex Grossman. Where when Rex was in, you knew that first drive what Rex
he was going to throw the ball 60 yards downfield, whether you wanted it or not.
First drive,
I heard you wanted a screen pass.
Rex.
But I respect Rex Grossman for that. He goes, screen pass? No.
We don't pull that shit around here.
That is not how we play.
But I mean, Dave, you were saying before this podcast, if we're talking about the Bears, bring up ex-Bear head coaches. You think Lovey could get fired after one season with Tampa?
Tampa's play has been embarrassing this season. It's painful to watch as a football fan. I can't even imagine being a fan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. I
will say they should have one more win. They got screwed against the Rams.
Yeah, was it an injury runoff?
He walked off under his own power.
Eventually.
Shouldn't have been a 10-second runoff.
Eventually.
That's all I'm saying on that one.
But I mean officiating, it's tough because I don't think it's been very good this year either.
No, it's been terrible this year.
And for Tampa Bay though, your number one issue for me is you paid Josh McCown to do what? Because he's not. I mean, I know he's hurt, but he's looked awful, and now he's not doing anything. And now we got Glennon in there, who the report was they weren't sure if they liked him anyways.
Exactly. You got a guy on the team being your quarterback who you didn't want on the team in the first place necessarily, and you let Revis walk out of town so you could help build up Lovey's system. Well, that's some better get moving quick because they're getting spanked left and right.
Exactly. And I mean, I do think you have to give Lovey another year.
I don't.
And in this case, they're looking like they're going to have a pretty good choice of a quarterback. That's true. I mean, and you do have people who do have 1 year, but I think Tampa Bay wasn't very good last year anyways, so I don't think this is that big of a step
the Browns
down.
have had a series of 1 year coaches, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah, they like it. They like it like that.
I honestly think that it seemed like a perfect marriage to bring Lovey back to Tampa Bay, but no, this team is beyond help almost.
I don't know. I think that you give Lovey, you can't fire him after 1 year because this is how I see it. Out of their 6 games that they've already played, they could easily be a 3-3 team. I mean, an overtime loss to the Saints, and any
Saints team,
any overtime loss, you could say could have gone either way.
Correct.
Because it got to overtime. And then that Rams game, I'm still saying they got screwed. They could be 3-3.
Yeah, but I mean,
Let's take a quick look at the losses, though.
Tampa Bay, we also got to recognize that
Carolina,
they gave up
good
the
team,
most
only
points.
lost by 6. They did get spanked by Atlanta, but
Which is a memory that will never fade.
Devin Hester kind of did a thing that game.
No, Atlanta did a thing that game.
And
you couldn't name one
and Bobby
offensive
Rainey
weapon.
couldn't hang on to the football that
You couldn't
game.
name an offensive weapon on Atlanta that didn't do a thing.
And I mean,
that game.
Baltimore, Torrey Smith came alive last
I believe a
week.
record was set in that game for quickest time to 5 touchdowns scored for a quarterback in 16 minutes. 16 minutes, Ricky.
Tampa
How can
Bay-
you defend a defensive head coach who
That's true.
his whole guru thing is we're going to win through defense, lets up 5 fucking touchdowns in 16 minutes?
They've given up 204 points, guys. This is the most points allowed in the NFL right now.
I just don't feel...
Defensive head coach.
Well,
Yeah.
No. This goes for any
That's
team
just sad.
in any sport.
You don't deserve to be a coach at that point. I'm sorry.
I hate when everyone's like, oh, we hired this guy. Why are we not winning right now? What do you expect
It is a
them
win
to
now
do
league.
in the first season? Bring you to a Super Bowl right when they walk into the door?
I'm not saying everybody needs to do that. I'm just saying Jim Harbaugh took him to the playoffs.
I'm just saying that I
The
can do it in
49ers were
Madden.
not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, though.
They weren't a good team. They weren't.
No, they were a good team. They just didn't have their leader.
Really? Because
Singletary sucked as a head coach.
Just say, maybe not. He just wasn't the right fit for the team, and that's what I'm saying here. Alex Smith had been almost run out of town
way
3
better
times. No,
than Mike Glennon.
he was almost run out of town 3 different times
Still
because
way
he's
better
had
than Mike
4
Glennon.
different offensive coordinators in 4
Still
years.
10 times better than Mike Glennon.
We don't know that.
The 49ers actually had wide receivers. I mean, Mike Evans is doing good. He's going to be a star. Austin Seraphin-Jenkins, compare him to Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis was... The only thing about Vernon Davis was that
He didn't want to play it.
he didn't want to play for Singletary. Then they bring in Harbaugh, a coach who can actually coach, and they actually do things.
Yeah,
No,
we're talking about how San Francisco's
The
going to
difference,
Like,
a
just
coach,
the mindset.
The thing here is a coach who players want to play for. That's the whole point. Is in 1 year it went from a team that was dysfunctional, players didn't want to be there, and a quarterback was almost run out of town again.
Yeah, but there are better players than what Buccaneers have right now.
Who's to say?
I am.
That's
I
that-
totally think that defense had way better players on it than this Tampa Bay team.
Really? Because Tampa Bay had this guy who was very good at corner, if I remember right. He was a lockdown corner at one point.
I'm talking about this
He's
year.
gone.
And yeah,
This year.
yeah, and that
They
whose
let him
choice was
walk.
that? Whose choice was that to let him walk? If I remember, it's their defensive guru head coach, who was like, "Nah, he's not important to my system." And
I was so excited
I don't
to
need
see
a
that,
I don't
too.
need a
That's gonna be
corner who can cover wide receivers to be in my system.
And that's why you give up 204 points.
I mean,
I'm not for firing Lovie Smith. I think you got to give
I
the
think
guy at
even
least
to
2
the end
years.
of the season.
Got to give him at least 2 years.
By the end of the season, if this is still in the bottom 5 defenses, I gotta be like, what the fuck, man? You're a defensive head coach, and you go up right now the most points in the league. But at that point, if you're in the bottom 5, like, so when's it? Who's gonna magically turn the system around? Are we gonna go out and get draft picks left and right that
well,
just
in this case, you're
poof?
going to have a great draft.
You're
pick.
going to have high draft picks,
Yeah.
yes. The question is, will those turn into players who actually work in the system and live up to their potential? And that's not a guarantee anymore.
For sure.
So
I
I've
think
got
you kinda
massive
have to
doubts on
try.
this team.
You're going to have to try and find out because if you keep, right now the Cleveland Browns are lucky, but if you keep just kind of switching your coach every year, doesn't typically
It's not a
lead to
recipe
good
for
things.
success, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying sometimes you get it wrong.
Hey,
And I think they need to just admit that they were wrong with
and
Lovie.
I know that you say that if you keep firing a coach 1 year after 1 year, not everyone can be so lucky that the Browns have been this year.
Yeah.
Mike Pettin has completely... I would say Mike Pettin's doing a similar job to what Harbaugh did with the Niners. Change the culture in a season. He's got these guys believing.
And the funny thing is he
Harbaugh-
lost his top offensive weapon.
Harbaugh came into the 49ers, changed that culture, gave them a head coach. Do you like him? Who the fuck cares? We're going to NFC championship games.
It's true.
We're-
That's my point.
I just feel the Buccaneers don't have... It's not about Lovey change. Is he changing the culture quicker than he should?
Are they
Probably
Shiano
not.
men?
But
Oh God, I wish they were.
It is a
Shiano
total
men.
culture shock from Shiano men. You have to admit that.
That's the
it
problem.
is. But I feel like this draft,
Yeah.
The Buccaneers are going to draft a ton of defensive players.
Well, no
that are
shit.
gonna
I mean,
fit
as a
Lovey's
Bears fan,
system.
I'm pretty sure
they
they're
might
going to
be
go
drafting
like
a quarterback though, round 1, because they're going to be in maybe the top 3 here.
they got a
So
good
why not?
opportunity.
I don't
absolutely.
know. Lovey Smith has said Glennon's provided some hope for this team.
Well, you remember, Lovie Smith as quarterback, all his requirements is that you can throw the ball 4 yards approximately down the field.
Yeah. But it is nice if you can throw it about 50.
I mean, it's a bonus, but it's
Yeah.
not something,
Just
he'll really...
unleash the dragon.
Yeah. And the whole thing is, remember, Alex Smith was a game manager who was an underperformer up until the point when Harbaugh was like, no, this guy actually can play. You guys just didn't let him. And it was like, now he's got it. And now he's showing it still even more with Kansas City. And that's the thing. I really don't know if Glennon's the guy or not, but I know that he can do more than what Lovey's allowing him to right now. There were flashes last year where it was like, maybe this guy can be an NFL quarterback.
I just think
This year?
Tampa's too far down to be a one-year fix.
I don't know. I think any team can be at least improved in 1 year. I feel like right now they've gone back a step. They've
As long
absolutely
as they
taken a
win
step
more than
backwards.
5 games at the end of the year, they're better than last season.
That's the question. Do you think this team can win 4 more games?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I do think that might be asking a lot.
I mean,
I think they took a step back with Lovey. They gave up their top
yeah,
talent.
but if you...
Then they
gonna-
went out and their
okay.
big offseason pickup was a journeyman quarterback in his mid-30s.
Vikings, Redskins are it. Because, I mean, look at their schedule. Atlanta can play them well. Chicago's a good team. Detroit's playing good. Carolina's playing good. Green Bay's playing good. The Browns are playing good.
Yep.
To me, it's not a matter of, like, oh, they should win these games. They've got a hard schedule when you look at it. The Bengals are no cupcake team.
No, they're
To me, their cupcake teams are.
The
I'm going to say that
Vikings.
I'm saying the Saints because the Saints aren't good this year.
You're right. They're underperforming.
Vikings and Redskins.
Yeah. So, but by that point, the Redskins may have their quarterback back or a quarterback back. You don't know.
Doesn't matter. I think Kirk Cousins is a better option than.
You may think that, but I'm
RG3.
just saying they're going to play.
No, I know.
They're going to play RG3 if
No,
he's
I know.
healthy. It
I
seems
know.
like it. They've kind of.
And plus,
Unfortunate
Kirk Cousins
decision.
has done nothing to say that
He hasn't won a game.
he wants the job.
Really, I mean, yeah.
He's
Too
all
busy eating that corn on the sidelines.
that corn-fed
He's
All-American.
So, no, I really think it's they're gonna end the season and go, what the fuck did we just sign up for, and cut this man loose. Really,
That's what you think is going to happen in Tampa.
I do. I think Tampa needs to pull the ripcord at the end of the season if they have less wins than last year and their defense is in the bottom 5. Because they're 2 offseason moves. They also let Mike Williams go as a wide receiver. So remember, they took their offense went from losing another wide receiver. They went and picked up Mike Evans though. So whatever, you got to trade off there. Probably an improvement slight, but you still lost depth at wide receiver unnecessarily so.
Yeah.
And your big fix was we're gonna go get a journeyman quarterback who had success with possibly the best tandem wide receivers or offensive unit as a whole.
And the quarterback
NFL.
whisperer.
Yeah. And you turn him over to the guy who led Sexy Rexy and the neckbeard to the playoffs.
It's okay, Rex. We're going to go get some
Some
ice cream after the game.
I knew you were going to do it.
It's okay that you lost to Peyton Manning. Devin had a good run, did he not?
He did what we all wanted him to do. We all got to watch that. That was nice.
That was really nice. Oh, I love it.
So
That's the only play I remember from that game.
that's the only play that happened in that game as far as my memory is concerned.
I think there were a lot of other plays that happened in
So,
that game, guys.
beatdowns that should happen this week. Patriots should beat down the Jets because Jets don't have a quarterback. Falcons, Ravens. I expect total offense, no defense.
Steve Smith.
That's going to be awesome.
That will be a fun one.
Redskins, Titans.
I'm
is
saying
just
Seahawks.
sadness.
Seahawks are going to bounce back and beat down the Rams.
It's the Rams, okay?
No, I
Ricky,
know.
calm yourself down.
It's
there.
hard to make a case for the Rams playing it close anymore.
Yeah. It bounced back.
Do the
game,
Brown?
Ricky.
How bad do the Browns beat Jacksonville?
What
I
if
think
that
it'll
was
be
the upset of the
closer than you
week?
think.
What if that's
Yeah.
the
What,
upset of the week?
Jacksonville beats
If
Cleveland?
Jacksonville gets their first win against Cleveland and knocks everybody off the Cleveland's going to be because I even thought I was like, look, Cleveland's schedule they could be a 6-2 team. Realistically, they could be 6-2, and that point they don't have too much more further to go to be a playoff team. And now I'm like, all right, well, what if we go shocker and Jaguars upset? Could happen. Colts we've got over the Bengals. Vikings Bills game. Let's be honest, I just want
I'm
to watch
not
Bridgewater
watching
play.
it.
I wanna
I'm a
watch-
Vikings fan.
Really?
I'll wait for the final score.
Ouch. That's loyalty for you.
That's tough, Ricky.
Dolphins, Bears. Unfortunately, Mrs. Tannehill's going to go home unhappy. Saints, Lions.
I got the
We talked
Lions.
about that one. You
I got the Lions.
You know,
I got Lions. Do you think the
I'm
Saints are
going
going
with the Saints.
Okay.
I'm going to do it.
Wait. I'm going to say this.
Bring it.
Lions win if Ingram doesn't play. If Ingram plays, Saints win.
All right, contingency, man. That's fine.
Because Ingram was having a career year before
The
he went
backup
down.
game of the week, Panthers, Packers.
I'm going to go Carolina.
No, I can't do it.
If it's
I gotta go
under
with the
50
Packers.
degrees, I'm going Packers.
Mark, do you bleed orange and blue?
I do.
Because you just picked the Packers.
Just
Saying.
I
did too.
I think they're gonna win it. It's unfortunate because I would love to claw up here, but when you tie,
You got
lose my
You got to
respect.
hashtag claw up.
You lose my respect when you tie.
It's okay. They got good ankles this week.
Chargers are going to cruise to the Chiefs.
Yep.
Cardinals over the Raiders.
Yep.
Oh, well, hold on there. All right, we discounting the Raiders here.
Yes.
Maurice Jones. Or no, wait.
I was
we
going to
don't
say,
have him
wait,
anymore.
yeah.
You mean Run
'cause
DMC?
He's not doing shit.
Yeah, Maurice Jones-Drew, maybe on the team technically.
I want him to do stuff because he's on my damn fantasy
The
team.
Cardinals, we don't care who our quarterback is. We're going to win
Yep.
the game. How awesome is this team doing
Logan
this year?
Thomas.
Very underrated as far as everyone's concerned, but a dangerous team nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys,
going
Giants,
Cowboys.
total toss-up.
I'm going
I want to lean
Cowboys.
Cowboys heavily, but I think Manning,
No,
anything's possible with him out
I
there.
don't believe in these G-men right now.
Okay. And then we got our Sunday night game of the week, 49ers, Broncos.
Broncos by a field goal.
I don't know.
49ers scared me. They were going to lose that game to the Rams until that horrible blown coverage going into halftime that let them sneak back into the game. I got no faith in them right now. I'm going Broncos.
I kind of want to pick the 49ers on this one. I want to pick this away team. I think 49ers are thinking, what if? What if we could have gone to that Super Bowl?
It's true.
Peyton Manning and Demaryius Thomas are having record-breaking.
Why won't you throw the ball to Sanders in the end zone?
Hey, I don't
Do you have
know.
a problem with it? Like, it comes red
It's
zone
like
time, and it's
they
like,
get to the red zone and Manning goes Thomas. Doesn't matter what your first name is. I'm only looking for my Thomas brothers.
It pains me so much as a Sanders
What about
fantasy
Texans
owner. It's
Steelers
terrible.
Monday night?
Monday night game. The Steelers have been a disappointment the last 2 weeks.
Flip a coin for me.
I'm going
less.
for Beardo here.
Yep. It's nice. It's nice and thick.
It is
I'm-
absurdly thick.
I'm gonna
I
s-
hope he keeps it the whole season.
I'm gonna stroke my beard as well. I'll go Fitzpatrick.
I love how the
beard that
Texans
looks
start
like
off
it's gonna
so
escape.
hot, and then it's like, letdowns.
Yeah,
This is a Monday night
game's,
of letdowns, both teams for me.
Yeah, it's nothing I'm excited about. I guess I go with the Texans. I guess.
You guess?
I guess.
All right.
I mean, what else am I gonna do?
But I mean, that's gonna do it for the onside kick. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like button, all that good stuff. Tell us what you think about anything we talked about today. The big question for the week, and it's what I was gonna end on, but Dave wanted to go through all the games.
I
which is
needed
al-
a rundown.
It's always fine with me. The question for the week: should Lovie Smith be fired?
the answer's
if
yes.
Tampa Bay does not do well this season after year one, leave that in the comment section down below. Tell us what you think about this week's games. Going to be another great week. Tune in next week right here, the Onside Kick. Have a good day, everybody.